Hi boo-boos, I'm Olive Von Topp, burlesque performer and empowerment coach, and I want to talk about self-compassion. So self-compassion is basically, being nice to yourself. It's super important. How we talk to ourselves is obviously super important, and extending compassion to ourselves is going to make us able to show up in different ways in our lives. A lot of people find, like when I do this work, I find folks reluctant to be nice to themselves because they think that if they're dicks to themselves, that will motivate them to do better, that will motivate them to reach their goals, and that, if they use punishment as a form of motivation, they'll get stuff done. When in actuality what happens is that when we're jerks to ourselves and we say mean things to ourselves, turns out it makes us have lower self-esteem. Saying you're such a piece of shit or you're a failure or whatever, turns out it has real effects on your self-esteem. And self-esteem is directly correlated to motivation. So it's pretty hard to be motivated to do things when you don't feel good about yourself, right? So it's compassionate people or self-compassionate people actually are better at reaching their goals because they are more willing to take risks, because they know that when they fail, which will happen, that they'll have their own back, that they'll show up for themselves, that they'll be kind to themselves, and they won't make failure mean something about them. They'll, learn lessons from it, and they'll know that they're going to be kind to themselves in that. So they're building self-trust, so to speak, and knowing that they're just going to have their own back. So that makes it easier to show up and do the things and ultimately reach your goals. So if nothing else, being compassionate to yourself is going to help you reach your goals. So Kristin Neff says that there's 3 components to self-compassion, and they are self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. So self-kindness, pretty much what you think it would be, is being nice to yourself, being kind to yourself, and speaking to yourself like you would a loved one. So getting clear on what your thoughts are related to yourself. And I have lots of other videos about that, so go check those out. But taking inventory on how you talk to yourself, getting clear about it. And then, really asking yourself, first of all, would I tolerate other people talking to me like this? Hopefully not. And secondly, would I speak to other people like this? Hopefully not. And asking yourself, how would I speak to a friend in this situation? When something crappy happens and you're berating yourself or you're being really hard on yourself, what would you say to a friend, and can you offer that to yourself? That is self-kindness. Common humanity is really just understanding that suffering is part of the human experience, and that you're going to make mistakes, you're going to fail, you're going to experience difficulties, and knowing that this is part of the human experience, and that other people go through the same thing, makes you feel not so alone, and makes it not seem like it's something that's happening to me, but rather this is just something that happens. And that makes it easier to be compassionate. And then thirdly, mindfulness. And so she talks about this more about being aware of our emotions, our thoughts, and our feelings. I have lots of videos about that too. So that we can understand them and be willing to sit with them without making them, part of our identity, all encompassing, knowing that they come and they go, and that we're willing to sit with them and know that, experience them and know that they'll go away eventually. So those are some thoughts on self-compassion. Obviously, Kristin Neff has a ton of stuff, of activities that you can try. I have a blog. I have lots of videos related to things like self-soothing, changing our thoughts for the better, being kinder to ourselves, etc. So check those out. And see if you can be a little bit nicer to yourself. Catch you next time.